So welcome everybody. I'm Jan Lehman. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the owner of CTC Productivity, and with me is my wonderful Wisconsin crew, Walter Jankowski and Nancy Krushke. And we're super happy you're here. If you've been following along, you know the drill. We've been doing a webinar series once a month since COVID started. The whole intention of the webinar is to really get people more familiar with Microsoft 365 and its productivity suite of tools. And if you're interested in seeing some of the past sessions we've done, Nancy will enter into chat a link to go back to the CTC website, and we have recordings from all the past sessions. And our format is, I'm going to do a little dance at the beginning, pass the baton over to Walter. He's going to do a deeper dive, and then we'll do Q&A. So as we go along, if you have questions, feel free to enter them into the chat, and then we'll circle back at the end. We do have a lot of content today, so he might be going through fairly fast, but we want to just give you some good information. All right, so let's see what else we have. Coming up next month, so today's topic is about remote and hybrid worker productivity. And then next month, Nancy's going to be talking about OneNote templates and how to drive productivity leveraging those tools. And then in September, Walter will be back talking about best practices for deploying Microsoft 365. So Nancy is entering into the chat the registration links. Even if you can't make the meeting, you want to go ahead and register because we will send you the recording afterwards, or also they'd be on the website. But this is a description of that particular class. And I'm going to do just a quick little intro, and it's a new intro for those of you like Gail who have been on this every time and probably bored with my intro. So we've decided to change up my slides. So a little bit background, what's going on in the world. The world is really changing. And so if you're feeling like, what the heck, 10 years ago, I used to be organized and now I'm not, I don't know what's going on, you are not alone and you are not crazy. So this is a slide from Deloitte Consulting, and Deloitte is saying that we're moving from the red box of a traditional organizational structure into the orange box, more of a social enterprise. And what that means is we're moving from, on the x-axis at the bottom, we're moving from working in individual silos as kind of independent people into working more in a network of teams. And then the same thing on the X or the Y-axis, we're actually working not just within the four walls of our business, but we're working externally with suppliers, vendors, and customers and collaborating there to solve problems. And so what we're seeing happening is a lot of the business issues that used to exist are actually increasing even more. Hey, Nancy, I don't think the recording is going, is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. So a lot of the business issues that have been around for a while have been exacerbated. So communication's harder when you're working in a team and organization and lots of good things. And the other thing that we also, obviously are all aware of is a lot of workers, even though COVID is starting to slow down, we're not really all going to be going back the way we were before. And so working in a hybrid model is going to be super important for all businesses to provide employees with flexibility. So cloud-based solutions like Microsoft 365 not only help us solve a lot of those business issues because they help us work in a team environment, but because it's cloud-based, it makes it easier, gives us a lot more flexibility. So we are super lucky to have that technology. And then my final slide, these are some stats from Microsoft, or actually from a study by Forrester about the benefits of using the Microsoft Teams environment, which is this communication and collaboration hub where these project teams come together. And so you can see some great statistics here. We are definitely, we have yet to get a company leveraging the power of 365 and to say that was a mistake. So seeing lots of great perks on our end as well. So on that note, I'm going to pass it over to Walter to do a little discussion around remote and virtual workforces, hybrid workforces.
Awesome. Thank you, Jan. This is primarily going to be looking at training and how to engage your employees and using MS365, and I'm going to show you some capabilities that are there and that are currently there and that are coming. I wanted to start with this. I've done this in other slides, but most people don't know what they bought when they got Microsoft 365. And so depending on your plan, these are the things that you have bought. So MS365 is basically a cloud platform, right? It's not on a server in your office, it's in the cloud, which creates a whole plethora of stuff that is available to you. So like in Office 365, everybody knows and most organizations, that's what they buy MS365 for, is the Office platform. But you also have the capability to have Office 365 on a desktop version, which is what is most people are aware of. But you also have a web version, so you can use any of these Office 365 tools on your phone, on your iPad, on your on almost any device. So Jan, go to the next one. So most people know about the Office 365. And then you also have the email and calendar. And in a previous session, we talked about using some of the tools of bookings and find time and tools to get people to book and make it easier for booking meetings, especially if you have external folks. Hit the next one, Jan. And then one of the big benefits of remote workforce technology has Microsoft has developed Teams. And Teams is an extremely powerful collaboration tool. And so for teamwork, collaboration, meetings, and voice, and what Microsoft did was took all of the communications and notes and chats and comments and put it all into one tool in Teams. And so that is where you collaborate. And you can see the little star there, business voice. Whether you knew it or not, Microsoft is rolling out as we speak the telephone. So they have voice over IP, and it is it's taking the world by storm, let's say, because it's about 25% less. If you have business phones, you might want to look into business voice. And then you also have Yammer and Kaizala. Those are all like instant messaging type tools. You also have file storage and content sharing. So OneDrive is extremely powerful because it stores your documents in the cloud, so therefore you can access it from anywhere. So if you're talking about a remote workforce, I can access any document in the organization from a OneDrive and my documents through the cloud and on any device. And the same with SharePoint and Stream, and we'll talk about Stream a little bit later today. These are all tools that Microsoft has to store files. Another very powerful thing when you're talking about a remote workforce is keeping track of tasks and task management. So you have available to you Task by Planner and To Do and Forms and Lists and Customer Voice and MileIQ. Those are all task management activities where you can assign tasks and you can manage all of your team's tasks in one spot. Go ahead, Jan. Then another extremely powerful tool is their workflow and analytics tools. Power Automate, Power Apps, and Power BI are all tools that are available to you. Power Automate is basically workflow. So when an activity comes in, like an email or you wanted to kick off a workflow, it will automatically send an email to somebody, or it will change the status of something. So think of like a new employee coming in, it can automatically notify IT and your facilities to do their task, and as soon as they change their status, it can automatically help with the new employee or anything that you want with Power Automate. Power Apps are basically just that, is you can create an app out of just about anything, and I'm going to show you a little bit about that of that today. And then Power BI is basically executive dashboards or dashboards on anything that you have in SharePoint. Then in the last piece is the social learning and personal assistant. These are all things that are available to you. Delve think of it as Facebook in Microsoft Teams. Cortana is your artificial intelligence. It's very similar to Siri and the like, and then My Analytics. But what I'm going to cover today is Microsoft Viva. This is rolling out as we speak, and there's 4 components to it, and I'm going to cover that. Why don't you hit the next slide? And so let's do a little focus on Microsoft Viva. And if you go ahead and click.
I'm like your digital Vanna White, I just realized, aren't I?
Exactly. So there's kind of 4 components to Microsoft Viva. And I'm going to show you a short little video here in just a bit that will explain each of these. But what Microsoft tried to do was combine and package up all of the learning and social media and social interactions within an organization. So you have connections, which is making your employees engaged and informed. You have insights. So if you are a manager, you can see how people are using the tools that you have. Are they working too long, too many hours? There's all sorts of capabilities with making sure that there's a balanced workforce. You have topics where you can find experts throughout your organization. And then the last is learning. And I'm going to cover the last 2. So Jan, if you would, we're going to play a little video here. It's only about 3 minutes long that shows you kind of the capabilities of Microsoft Viva.
Microsoft Viva empowers people and teams to be their best by bringing communications, insights, learning, and knowledge into an integrated employee experience right inside Microsoft Teams. Viva Connections is your gateway to this experience, allowing you to stay engaged and informed no matter where you work. Here's an example for a company called ReliCloud. Connections is customized for your organization and personalized for you, with a feed of relevant news, announcements, and conversations so you're always in the know, and a dashboard connecting you to company resources and tools from Viva and across your digital workplace. You can tailor Viva Connections for every role, from frontline workers to executives, to keep everyone connected and engaged. Viva Insights helps you work smarter and thrive with personalized reminders to prioritize time for focused work, coaching, and learning. Take regular breaks and mindfully wrap up your workday with a virtual commute. For managers and leaders, Viva provides insights and recommendations to foster healthy, successful teams and build personal and organizational resilience. For example, Viva can help a manager see if a team is at risk of burnout, then take action to help them develop healthy work habits and feel balanced. Viva Insights helps you understand the impact of work patterns on people and the business, then drive and measure change while protecting personal privacy every step of the way. With Viva, you can foster success and well-being for you, your team, and your organization. Viva Learning brings all your learning resources together in one place. You'll find content that's been assigned to you and recommended from a variety of sources, including your own custom content, learning management systems, and top content providers, including LinkedIn Learning and Microsoft Learn. With Viva, learning becomes a natural part of your day and lets everyone learn in the flow of work. It's easy to find, share, and discuss learning, and organize resources to foster a learning culture. Managers can assign learning and track completion to accelerate onboarding. Viva Learning enables employees to develop their skills and grow in their careers and as a person. Lots of learning is done on the job, and Viva Topics magically connects you to knowledge and experts. When you come across an unfamiliar topic or acronym, just hover. No need to search for knowledge. Knowledge finds you. Want to know more? Just click to find people, resources, and conversations related to the topic. Have a question? Just ask. Viva has the answer or calls in topic experts. Viva uses AI to build topic pages automatically and makes sure sensitive content remains protected. With Viva Topics, you can harness the knowledge of your organization and connect people to that knowledge in the apps they use every day. These features and more are coming to Microsoft Viva this year. Microsoft Viva brings communications, insights, learning, and knowledge together into an integrated employee experience, so everyone can be their best and the whole organization can thrive.
Okay, so you can see this is, Viva is rolling out. There are 2 of the modules are already rolled out. The Microsoft Topics and the Insights are already there. What is coming in, I believe in September, is the Microsoft Learning, and I wanted to touch on that. Let's go to the next slide. When you have a remote workforce, one of the major things that Jan and I and Nancy hear is, you know, how do I track and get people, get our employees engaged, and then how do I make sure that they are learning what they need to learn and develop where they want to go. So we're gonna take just the learning module, and I want you to, as you go through this, I want you to see how learning is changing. You know, there's no longer I go to a 3-day seminar or I have face-to-face. If you watch this, you'll see that training is becoming short little modules, and that you can assign and share across the organization. So this will look at it from a new employees aspect, a manager's aspect, and then a frontline workers aspect. So go ahead, Jan. This is only about 3 minutes long also.
Yeah, Walter, I'm not getting the...
Go to the next slide.
Next slide, okay. Why?
Hit page down, I think.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Sorry, everybody. Okay.
Around the world, employees use Microsoft Teams as their hub for teamwork. Now we're extending Teams to include learning, enabling employees to learn within the flow of their work. Let's see how learning comes to life in Teams. The Learning app in Teams makes it easy to discover and share trainings and courses. Raj just joined the team. As he gets started, he opens Teams and sees a welcome message from his manager, Julia, along with a reply from a team member suggesting he check out the Our Trainings tab. In Our Trainings, the team has curated all of the trainings helpful to a new team member, including technical trainings from Microsoft Learn, courses from LinkedIn Learning, and company-owned learning content, all available in one easy-to-access place. Raj needs to decide which training to take first. He's able to see how many people at the company have viewed and liked each course. He selects a training and opens it in Teams, where he can start the training, catch up on the latest conversation, and join the discussion. When Raj completes the training, he moves right back into the flow of his work in Teams. Managers facilitate the discovery of learning resources and foster discussion so that peer learning can flourish. To enable that, managers need tools to assign and track trainings. In her activity feed, Julia sees a LinkedIn Learning video posted by MJ, a fellow team leader. She clicks on the training and sees more details, along with like and assign options. She thinks the training will be beneficial and decides to ask 2 of her teams to take it. Without leaving Teams, she can easily assign the course to individuals or groups. Back in the Manage tab, Julia can see all of the learning materials she's assigned to different teams and individuals, as well as their completion status. The Learning app in Teams makes it easy to find and access micro-learning content, helping employees complete tasks efficiently. Richard is a first-line worker who has a question while working in a remote cell tower. He taps on a group chat in the Teams app and posts his question. His colleague Olivia sees his question and remembers watching a relevant training last week. She quickly searches for it in the Learning app, finds it, and sends it to Richard. Richard views the training and is able to complete it right from his phone. He receives credit for finishing the training and earns a certification card verifying his new skill, which he is easily able to add to his LinkedIn profile. At every level of your organization, the Learning app in Microsoft Teams with LinkedIn Learning and Microsoft Learn makes learning content more easily discoverable and facilitates social learning right within the flow of work.
So, can you see how learning is changing in most environments? You can see most things were in small little modules that were searchable. And many people don't know, but Microsoft bought LinkedIn Learning. And so anyone can recommend any course on LinkedIn Learning and or in YouTube or TED Talks or whatever, and you can put it into your course curriculums. So if you go to the next slide, you should just be able to hit
Around
that.
the world,
Oh,
employees use
just hit page down.
Yeah, it's not doing it.
Microsoft Teams as their hub.
Hit the escape and then just get back in.
Come on. All right.
There we go.
This is what happens when you guys let me lead the technical part.
Exactly.
You guys know better. So just a comment to everybody, please don't feel overwhelmed by all this. It's a lot of information. It's a complete shift. Again, our goal with these sessions is just to start to make you aware of what's possible. You could go back and watch this 100 times. So just soak it all in and get a sense of how things are changing.
So you can see the launch of this is of the learning module is coming, as I said, I think in September. We do have a link in here that if you look up the Microsoft Ignite conference, it shows the launch of the product. So if you go to the next one, let me show you some things that are already available to you on that you can download. If you have MS365 and SharePoint sites, there is a module that you go out to Lookbook and you can download this module. It's called MS365 Learning Pathways. And it's a built-in module that has the basics of Teams and SharePoint and OneDrive, etc. So you can see this is the main page, and this is totally customizable by you. And if you hit you'll see. So for instance, if you want to get started with Teams, they're all in little 2 minutes or less modules, and typically there are about 8 modules in each one, so you can learn about Teams and SharePoint and OneDrive. And this is available to you right now. You can download it, you can have your admin download it and put it into your tenant, and this can be available to all employees. Hit the next slide. You can also have, with Teams and SharePoint, you have access, and everything is in the cloud. You have instant access online to any instruction, procedures, or training. So you can see this welder has pictures of what a quality product would look like, and that is all available. You can set that up in a Teams or a SharePoint site. If you go to the next one. Now, I'm going to quickly cover Stream. Stream, you have access to Stream, which is basically if you are doing one of these meetings, or if you're doing a meeting in Teams, go ahead and hit the next slide. Microsoft Stream is basically an editing. It records the meeting, and go ahead. And then it transcribes the meeting as you go, so you can actually see what people are saying. So think of this as it, and then it saves it into your Stream, and then think of it as like YouTube channels. You can produce this, or you can create this video. You could just actually have somebody go out and do a meeting and record it on your phone. You go back and then you can edit this. And so go ahead and hit the return or hit the next one. So if you go into Stream, then you can edit and trim those videos down to 3 different 3-minute modules. Go ahead. And so you can have just-in-time instructions and training. Go ahead. And then it's also searchable. So you can take and record any meeting that you want, edit it down, and then put it up into your channels. Okay, go ahead. Here's another, you can take those same, this organization, they went out on the shop floor and they basically put in the QR codes on the machines. You click on it and there are the instructions for the machine of either how to start it up or processes or procedures. This is all very doable right within your existing, because you have cloud access, you can now access anything that you put in Teams or SharePoint. And if you hit the bar again, this organization, they are using Teams to give continuous improvement ideas, and they basically gave everybody access to improvement ideas, or gave everybody access to Teams in on their phone. And so if you had an idea, you could post it out and say, here's what I'd like to change. So go ahead, Jan. Click. So as I said, employees can post improvement ideas, etc. Go ahead and hit the next one. So the last piece of this is Power Apps. And so you can take any of these, and if any of you have work order requests, you can create a Power App. So click again. And so let's say you want to request checkout equipment or the like, it would automatically bring up the form that you want. And when you press this submit button, it goes back into a SharePoint list, and then you can track all of those items. So think of if you have people out in the field, or you can create apps and Power Apps for workflow approvals, or whatever you, anything that you need approvals, you can create a Power App for it. Okay, Jan? So any kind of work order requests, and maintenance requests, or anything in your organization where you're asking to put a work order in, and then it's automatically routed and assigned to the right department. Go ahead, Jan. And then notification, you can set it up where that you have a notification when the request is complete. Go ahead. And I'm going to turn it back over to Jan. So those are some ideas of when you have a remote workforce, some tools that you can implement to engage your employees and or give them the tools to be successful in their job.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Sorry, I was running the slides because we were having a problem with the video on Walters, so that was a little clunky, but thanks for hanging in there. I'm just going to wrap up really quick. A lot of you, actually, a lot of my coaching clients are on the call, super fun. But a lot of you, when you come to these webinars, you think this is all we do is 365, and that's a huge part of what we do, but we have a lot of other services. So we definitely have a consulting arm. We actually approach Microsoft 365 by looking at your business issues and how do we improve the workflow across your organization. Typically, it's a communication collaboration issue, and so we approach it very differently than a lot of other tech companies. So that's the way we roll. We do a lot with company KPIs and metrics. We do a lot of one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and then training and a lot of public speaking, all on productivity-based topics or effective leadership topics. So that's a little bit about us. So it looks like we've been pretty active in the chat. Nance, I don't know if you've been monitoring. Do you have, like, you want to shout out some that make sense to us to cover?
I do. So one of the very first questions was, do you think with the introduction of Microsoft Teams, it is also leading to a reduction in the number of emails? And there's a kind of a short and a long answer to that. Yes, we are seeing that internal emails are reducing, and so that the communication is being moved from email and Outlook over into Teams internally. But organizations then are seeing that their email and their Outlook is just focusing, really anybody that they're getting messages from there is outside of the organization. So inside is moving there. But we are working with many clients that also are partnering and collaborating inside of a Teams environment with their external partners. So I think as time goes on, there may even be more and more. And could be a possibility that when you're at work, you don't even have email at all. Everything is coming through Teams, but that could be down the future. Walter, anything to add to that?
Nope, you hit the nail on the head.
Okay. And next one was an Outlook question. When sharing calendars in Outlook, the shared color coding often does not work for me, as each person has their colors assigned. So they're using categories, she's using categories for specific things. Is there any way for the calendar to be completely a different color? And unfortunately, no. When you open someone's shared calendar and they are using categories, so the calendar, if they weren't using categories, might be a pink or a blue or a green or a yellow. But if they are using categories, then those particular meetings are going to be whatever color they've categorized it. One of the things you can do is that you can overlay them and then make sure your calendar is the top calendar. And then those colors are much more muted behind there. Another idea would be to have a conversation if this is a teammate of yours, and maybe your whole team, if you have the same meeting on all of your calendars, you use similar or the same color coding, and then it won't jump out so much. But no, you cannot, when you're viewing someone's calendar who's using categories, you cannot erase their categories. One thing you can do though, is you can also see what categories they're using, which is kind of cool, because you're like, wow, look at all the colors on their calendar. And if you right click on any item that has a category on it and it's a different color, you'll be able to actually see their drop down list of categories. And sometimes that's helpful when you're going, I don't know what categories I should be using. So I don't know if there's any more questions there.
Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself too if you want to ask the question. It doesn't have to be in chat. I know it was a lot of information. It's the world, it's just changing very fast, which is super exciting, but can be a little overwhelming.
So I see Walter answered the third question about instructions on how to download the 365 Learning Pathways. And Walter shared in the chat the Microsoft Learning Pathways lookbook. If you're having trouble figuring that out, a couple of things that we would recommend, right? Read through all the documentation in that link Walter sent you. Look on support.microsoft.com. You can connect directly with Microsoft. If you're just a solo shop, you do have, with your 365 plan, you do have 24/7, support directly from Microsoft. And if you have an IT department, I would reach out to them and find me things. So I don't know, and Walter, is there anything more you want to add about the learning?
Yeah, one thing with that link that I just saw, lookbook, Microsoft has created lots of different views and ideas. And so if you wanted to go see what some best practices are, you can go to this site. And then if you scroll down, you can see all the different sites that are there. But if you scroll down, you can see here's organizational. So here's examples of if you're looking for developing your intranet, you can go to any of these, and it tells you what are the site features and what are the things that they have in it. But all of these are downloadable, and you can put them into your SharePoint tenant. But so if I scroll back, oops, go back, and if I go to the community one here, oh, not the community, solutions, that's what it is. So here is the Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways. And when you download this, so you can basically go here. Now, you're going to have to be an admin. You're going to have to, so you might want to get your IT person involved or yourself, and you can add it to your tenant, and then it will just, it will copy down to your tenant. Now, with this one, because it has apps and controls in it, there's some instructions that you have to do to add an app, but they tell you how to do it, and so it's a little more complicated. But once you download it, it's on your tenant, and then you can customize it and just have a link, and then you can make it what you want. If you don't have OneDrive or you don't want people to learn certain modules, you can customize the whole thing. But they're great little 2-minute modules on Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, just about anything.
So just a comment, there's a lot of do-it-yourself great stuff out there. So we want to share that with you. But certainly if you don't have the time or the energy, that's why we're here, right? We help businesses figure out this technology faster, how to deploy it. So don't be afraid to reach out. But there's just some amazing tools out there. So it looks like Nancy entered the past webinar link and then the registration and chat. So if you like this session, again, we hit a lot of different topics. Click on the link to the registration and then you'll automatically get a copy of the recording from the session. And any other questions?
Jan, there's somebody that said, would you take a moment to share about your coaching services for individuals and teams?
Oh, I love that. Well, I've got a bunch of my coaching clients on the call. So I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. I do one-on-one coaching and also group coaching. I'd be happy. Who is it? It might make more sense to talk privately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a moment. Oh, this was Sheila.
Okay.
Sheila. And
Okay.
it also says coaching services for individuals and team small groups to improve their use of technology.
Yes. Yeah. So I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. If we get into some deep hardcore technology, that's when I bring Nancy and Walter in to help with the coaching sessions as well. They are the brains to the operation. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. I'd be happy to chat with you offline regarding it. So thanks for asking.
And Nancy's a fabulous, she can help you on just about any question or help you set up stuff or, answer 90% of the questions that you might have.
She's so great.
She saves me all the time.
But Walter's the process.
Walter's our
I gotta
process,
tell you, we all have our specialties, that is for sure. So
yeah, for sure. All right, gang. Well, there's no more questions. We thank you for being here. Again, please don't feel overwhelmed. Go back and listen to the recording. Feel free to share it with others. Feel free when you get our newsletter to forward that on to other people as well. We'd love to have even more people on the call. So thanks so much, everyone. Awesome job, Walter. Thank you.
Jen, I just want to say thank you too. This is Kathy. Just thank you for the webinar. It was very good. And I am going to share this with Susan because there was so good information and stuff on it. So, and we'll meet later, but awesome. Thank you. This was a very, very good meeting. I was trying to take notes, but it'll be nice to get the recording to show.
Oh yeah, you had to be writing fast. So
I was.
I'm glad
somebody bugging IT about it.
Yes, yeah, that's what I want to share with Susan so she can share it with our IT department and say there's so much valuable information that we're just not using yet. Yeah. Especially with the teams with Stream, we stream or I record our quarterly business review meeting, but the transcript part and splitting it up to different presenters is huge. That was my one big takeaway that I know I can enhance for our company.
Outstanding.
That, it's, if you can get one little tidbit from each thing or one big aha, that was my one big aha for this.
Awesome.
Is wow. So thank you.
That's great. Thanks for the feedback. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Kathy, one additional thing with that is if anybody is doing process documentation, that is the way I would do it, is have somebody, just go onto a meeting, explain your job, tell me how you do stuff, and then you have the transcript, then you can just make it into a process documentation and make it step 1, I do this, step 2, I do this, take the screenshots, and then you can do process documentation in 1/10 the time.
So
yeah, that is. I'm sorry, what was that?
Can you download the transcript?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can yes,
awesome.
you have access to all of that, or you can copy and paste it and put it into a Word document, or how. But one thing when you are editing, you'll want to it only edits that version, so you'll want to copy the video. So if you're going to make it into like your quarterly meeting into like 4 different chunks, make 4 copies and then you edit each, or maybe you have 4 additional copies and then you edit each of those, and then it basically chops it up. But that would be fantastic to take, if you're taking a quarterly meeting and saying, okay, here is our financials, here's our, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping for, is because some people want just the financial information. And with everybody working remotely, we don't always have time for everybody to watch a 45-hour meeting, where if they're just interested in financials, I can send them that one section instead of sending the whole thing. So yeah,
You
that
mean
is good.
you'll send them the
A
link,
copy, yes, I'll send
the
them the
link, and
the
it will be
link.
in your
Yes.
channel, and then you can actually have a channel called your quarterly meetings, and then have the links to that one, and then like sub channels underneath that. So go research Stream, and there's some really cool stuff you can do with it.
Just
Yeah,
the one thing,
thank
the
you.
one thing to remember with Stream is it's only internal.
Yep,
Nobody
and-
external can access it.
Well, and that's the important thing for us too, for security reasons. Any of our QBR stuff has to be secure, that we can't share it with anybody external anyway. So that's a good security factor for us too.
I just want to know why Jan isn't in all of your offices presenting and doing workshops and training everybody, right?
Love you, Nikki. You're so sweet.
Jeez.
I love
That's
that you
a
offer
plug.
these for free. And I just wanted to say thank you, Jan. These are fantastic. And that's why
Oh.
I use you as a coach, because you're so knowledgeable. So thank you.
And you are one of my favorite clients. Don't tell anybody else. Thank you, Nikki. So sweet.
Well, great
All right.
session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Good
everyone.
to see you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you.
Ciao, bye.